And we're live.
Tiffany was just putting lipstick on me because I forgot to bring my lipstick and we were laughing about it.
So if anyone wants some, here we go. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Happy Mondays.
Happy Monday indeed.
What's our topic for today, Tiff?
What are we fighting for? Because we all know that it's good to fight for something, right?
So much at the moment, you know, like if you're watching the TV or reading the news or even whatever, you know, whatever you're doing in regards to whatever's happening on the planet, there's a lot of things being prodded and poked and provoked to get people's reactions. And that gets people angry, gets them pissed off, gets them fighting, gets them niggling, and then they take that into their household or into their relationships or at the kids. And it's like, what if none of that is actually your reality? And what if you didn't have to buy into any of that?
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of that thing of like, you've got to fight, you've got to fight for what you believe in, and you know, there's some element of, you know, the willingness to stand up and keep creating what you know is real and true for you. But it's like, what if fighting isn't the way to get there? And it's like, how often do we actually fight for, you know, I mean, what sort of sparked this conversation was, you know, the awareness Viv was talking about this morning, the awareness of when people, or when we, because I know I've definitely done it, just, you know, once or twice, where we fight for our limitations, you know, where we have some kind of stuck idea or point of view or way of looking at something, and someone's kind of either challenging us, which, you know, if you're creating the fight or the challenge, then you're always going to come up with resistance. But if someone's challenging us on some place where we're limiting ourselves, how often do we fight for our limitations rather than the willingness to go, okay, cool, I see this is a limitation. How else can I be? What else is possible here?
Yeah, and that fighting to be right, like the first step of it that we don't even recognize is where we fight to be right. If I've already got a point of view that, okay, well, this has been my experience in the past and it's happened 3 times, then I must be right. So somebody might come in with a, you know, with a possibility or a suggestion or a point of view or an offering to say, look, can I contribute? But if I'm holding on to that point of view, but 3 times in the past this hasn't worked, why would I go there again?
Yes.
You can see how I'm fighting for a limitation without even realizing, because I need to be right. It's just a little bit.
Well, it's crazy, but it's also kind of how we're taught to function. You know, it's like one thing that, you know, we have come to be aware of is through, you know, Access Consciousness and Gary Douglas and Dane Heer and all of the amazing people that create that, is that I think it was actually Dane Heer who said this: your point of view creates your reality. Your reality doesn't create your point of view. But how often do we go, well, this is what happened, so therefore this, and this, and that's how we're doing, you know, reality creates our point of view. Well, it's like, no, your point of view creates the reality that shows up. So everything that shows up for you in your life, you have created somehow and somewhere, which, you know, we've spoken about before and we'll probably talk about again many, many times, because it is this, I mean, when I first heard that, your point of view creates your reality, it twisted my brain. And I had to really go, your point of view, what do you mean? But it's like, yeah, everything you think and say creates what shows up for you. And I mean, the tricky part of that is sometimes it's like, it can be from some other place or some other lifetime or whatever that you don't necessarily have the connection to anymore. But it's like somewhere, whatever is showing up for you, you've created it somewhere, somehow.
Another one that I love too, Tiff, is Dane also says, if you don't get up in the morning and create your reality, reality will create it for you.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's like you can either be, I use this term loosely, but you can either be the victim where you're the passenger in the, the passenger in the passenger seat, or even worse, strapped in the boot of your life, or you can start to get into the driver's seat and go, okay, well, where am I going today? What do I want to create? Where am I driving to? Where am I heading? And when you have a question, well, what else is possible today? What else is possible beyond this? Or even if you are fighting, okay, what is this actually creating? Is this creating more ease? Is this creating more closeness? Is this creating more possibilities? Or is it creating less and it's creating fight? And if I'm creating to fight, am I needing to be right? And it's just, it's like it's so sneaky how we fight for our limitations without even really knowing that we're doing it.
Well, I mean, oftentimes we think our limitations are us, don't we? It's like we've created who we are based on all these different parts and pieces. And it's like if there's something that's a limitation and you know it, that's the funny thing. It's like you know that you're functioning from something a bit more limited than what is on offer, but you're like, no. This is true. This is right. This is actually the way it is, I remember when, a couple of years ago, I had a really hard time with money, like the hardest time I've ever had with money in my entire life. Money's often been a relatively easy thing in my world. And like a couple of years ago for I reckon a year or two, I was just like, I just couldn't get it happening. And, that cycle of like, but I don't have the money. And it's like, yeah, but you're creating that from your point of view. But I'm like, but it's true. I actually don't. But I was locking myself into that reality by the unwillingness to know that you can change things in a heartbeat, really. And things can show up in a way different way if you're willing to continually ask for more and continually ask question. It's like, okay, so in this 10 seconds, it looks like I have no money. So can I have some more money now, please? Universe, can I have some more money now, please? And sure enough, things start to open up if you're willing to ask the question and know that things can change in a heartbeat.
And that's a brilliant example, Tiff, because it was one of my favorite lines with money is how many times I would say, I can't afford it. If you're saying I can't afford it, you're already fighting for the rightness of your point of view without even realizing. It's like, what if from this point forward, if you've got money stuff up in your world, or it's a regular occurrence for you that, I don't have the money or I can't afford it or whatever that story is, if you hear yourself saying it or if you hear yourself thinking it, okay, what will it take for more to show up? Yeah, stop it.
Stop. Just stop and then go question.
Yeah, and ask, okay, what if I did have the money? What if the money could turn up for this? What if I chose this anyway and allowed the money to start flowing in and coming into my world? It's just, then you're going straight from survival into thrival, or you're going from problem to possibility, and you're starting to rewrite your entire reality and your relationship with money. And I know this sounds really flippant because, even now, if you're listening to this going, but I don't have the money, just be aware you're already fighting for your limitation and your point of view. See how sneaky it is?
Yeah, very, very sneaky. And it's amazing when you're in that, how much of a piss off it can be when someone tries to tell you that, no, but money is infinite and it can show up tomorrow. And you're like, yeah, it's not that easy. And there you are right there. It's not that easy, fighting for the rightness of your limitation rather than the willingness to put your barriers down and go, okay, this doesn't even make sense to me, but I'm willing to ask it and try it and go, okay, Duke's down, universe, can I have some more money now, please? What if money could show up in a way that I never imagined possible before? And, I've experienced this. And so many people who've been willing to use these tools in this way, who didn't even believe that they could work, stuff starts to show up different.
Totally. Totally. So if you, okay, can I have the money now, please? What will it take for way more money to show up in my world? And I know this is just using the example of money because it's one that's very close to a lot of people. You know, the other one is I'm tired. I'm too tired, or I don't have the energy. How often do you fight for your point of view of saying, oh, I'm too tired? Or just before Tiff and I got on, I said, look, sometimes when we organise to do these StreamYards, I'm like, oh, but I'm in a really weird space, or I feel really wonky today, or stuff's up in my world. And it's like, no, because that's the time, as soon as I talk to Tiff, just seeing her face, talking to her, just going, oh, I feel really weird today. She'll ask me a couple of questions. The energy transforms immediately. And it's like, right, let's go. We've got some great fodder for our conversation now, because you're not fighting. You're willing to look at, oh, yeah, is this how I want to live? Is this how I want my day to go? Is this how I want my future to go, that I'm tired, or I haven't got the energy, or I haven't got the money? Do you want to keep invoking and perpetrating that into your future? Or would you truly like to have a totally different way of being? And this is where the absolute gift of the question, asking a question, how does it get any better than this? If you just put that in your pocket and had it as your best friend, how does it get any better than this? You're immediately inserting a different possibility into what was the train track of how you've been living.
Absolutely.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. And it really is. And we also get how sometimes it really does not feel like that. So please, please understand it's not about, oh my God, airy fairy, everything's like rainbows and unicorns.
Unicorn poo.
We get it. Like, we've been there. Both Viv and I have been in these hard places, and we've seen ourselves doing these things. And, we still do stuff where we're like, oh my God, but we have these tools, and we love you guys to also have these tools and be able to have a life of increasing ease and joy and glory. And glory is the original definition, which means exuberance and abundance. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. What else is possible, ladies and gents?
Yes. So instead of fighting for the rightness of your point of view, what if you'd be willing to just play with some of the suggestions Tiff and I have given today? Or, if money wasn't the issue, what would I choose? Because it's your choice that creates. Every choice you make creates something. So what if tomorrow morning, what if from this point forward, you wake up and start creating your reality? Become more aware of what you're thinking around your financial situation, or your energy levels, or your body, or whatever it is, your relationship, whatever it is for you, and become aware of what's coming out of your mouth, because what you think and what you say is what becomes. Your point of view becomes your reality.
And we'll say it one more time. Your point of view creates your reality. Yeah.
Reality does not create your point of view, unless you're choosing to be in the passenger seat or the back of the car and being a victim, because this capacity to create is one of the most potent, powerful, untapped and unacknowledged gifts that we all have. And it's the question that is your kryptonite. It's the question that is your ability to go, well, yeah, I'd like a pie. I'd like a slice of that pie. How do I get it?
Yeah.
Start playing with questions.
Yeah, it's the question. And it's also, it's like we've been doing this access consciousness thing for, I think around 15 years, the two of us. And, it's also about knowing and having the tools to undo the other stuff too. So, we have lots of awesome stuff to play with. If you guys, are like, yes, I need to change things up. We've got a few calls coming up over the next few weeks. I think we've got one starting on the 21st, which is surviving. What is it called? I always forget.
Surviving or thriving, turning problems into possibilities.
Yeah.
And then $50, I think.
$50. Yeah. And then we've got two other calls coming up after that, which, all work nicely together. If you want to jump on all three, it's $150 for the 3 calls, or you can just jump on one of them. if it's something that lights up your world, and yeah, if you want some change and awesomeness.
And you wouldn't want to listen to Tiff and I, because we just have way too much fun.
No one likes awesomeness, right?
Yeah. And I even get what is it? I get lipstick put on my lips through the ears. It's just rubbed off today. Thanks, Tiff.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, guys. And yeah, we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye, Vivi.